rose, or what do you call it? This color. Pink. Or pink, almost the same thing with you. Hello, everybody. Sunday Adelaja here with the hero of this program. So, Bosse Fire Juola is the first person to come on. Blessings. Tomilola Allen Taylor, Shegun Fatumo. Wow, you are so constant, guys. And Joshua Nwoha, Kfir Schwartz from Israel, blessings. Fumilayo Agape, blessings. Where is Fleur is here from France, Adewume, Fanika, Joachim. Welcome, Joshua. Shegun is saying, we are welcoming you already. Omo Labake Topas, Shegun Fax, Joshua Ujuade from Venice. Wow, that's our Joshua, Pastor Joshua. Blessings. Yes, thank you for tuning in. Niyo Lushola, blessings. Vida from London, blessings. Peace. Shimdindu, blessings to you. Ekundayo, Olukayo, you are back home from your trip. Wonderful. Ayodeji Solomon from Bedfordshire, UK. I was just about to say, where are you, Mayowa? So Mayowa, the lady, we just, okay. She's greeting you and saying, good evening, sir. Good evening, Joshua. Hi. Lola Shorunke from California, say hi. Shego Emmanuel, Michael Osayomi from Lagos, Nigeria. That's interesting. Denise Mouse, praise God. Well, as you are coming in, my request to you is that you will do us good if you go and press your share button. Please go and share the button as you are coming in. Pastor Olubumi Adejanya from Palde, California. Wonderful. Dimitri Pisted, spasiba. Zniom Rajdeni, spasiba. Oshin Lublu, Slusha. Me to be able to that give Blizao Chevremia. That not to be any videli. Thanks to. Yes, some people are still greeting me for my birthday. That's why I'm responding to in Russian. Francis Oye Deji. Good evening, sir. Happy birthday from Budapest, Hungary. Wow, Budapest, Hungary. That's interesting. Amazing. Adelaja Adebowale, blessings. Ajileye Bolare, blessings. Adebayo said he shared the message. Most of you have shared. Okay, Formula, you have shared the message as well. And Dimitri is saying, "Ya prayedu. Harasho budu rad ocean to be avide, Dimitri." So okay, and Kwame is saying happy birthday from Ghana. I've had so many birthday greetings. I don't know what to do with all of them anymore. Even right now, as I'm talking to you. There are some people that are still greeting me, that are still in my house trying to congratulate me for my birthday. Dimitri Prieste, Yasnova Doma. Yes, Dimitri, that's Yasnova Doma. Mola debts. Bolarin from Lagos, greetings. Tyra Ujibadu, blessings. Thank you for all the loves. Okay, Baba today, blessings. Mega Ranti, yes. Ben Ofori from New York. Emma Imejuru, blessings to you. Mashu Esong, Courtney May. Wow, we have a lot of regulars here this afternoon, this evening. Thank you. Thank you for your love. Thank you for your care. Thank you for being with us. Today, we are going to continue where we stopped in the morning. We are going to do a review of the message that I gave in the morning. And that morning message, let's go to Pastor Joshua, who is going to tell us about the morning message we just listened to in the morning. So, Pastor Joshua, welcome back.
Thank you very much, sir. It's good to be here.
Yeah, everybody's been waiting for you.
Oh, wow, Pastor. Well, this is your season.
It's been a few days.
Yeah, that's true. But this is your season. I want to use this opportunity to say happy birthday once again. to a legend, to a kingdom star, to a general. And I just want to say we appreciate you, we love you, and what you've done in our lives, words cannot describe. Nothing we can do can repay how much you've invested in us, and you're still investing. We can only just try our best to see how we can, give back from what you've put in us so that the kingdom of God can be expanded all over the earth. So happy birthday, sir. We celebrate you absolutely, and we say we love you.
Thank you so very much. Thank you. I'm so grateful. Uh, you know, but we have to leave that birthday behind because it's been so long.
Oh, yeah.
And this there's a sister here, Meg Garanti, wants me to pray for their wedding. I think they are hitting the rock in their wedding. So I'm praying for you right now, Mega, that God will intervene in your situation and bring a miracle to you and bring His peace and settlement to your situation, and the peace of God, the glory of God, the beauty of God will rule over your family, and God will speak to your husband. God will speak and bring His peace and resolution and be able to resolve whatever challenge you are facing in Jesus' name. Now, I'm seeing Adelaja Adebowale writing about Nina Adelaja. I guess this is the Nina from my church who was once my secretary that went to marry an Adelaja, my namesake, in Israel. But she was supposed to go through the rules and the procedures of the church, Adewale, so that you will know what happened. I didn't get to, she didn't get to to do it. She just went and took off to marry because she was so much in love. So because of that, she didn't come back to tell me no, she's married, to let me know she's married, she didn't even allow me to come and bless her. I would have liked to bless her and pray for her and let me see her husband, or especially if her husband is my namesake, and she just disappeared and went to marry. So if that is the same Nina, and if that is the same Adelaja, then, why don't you get in touch and repair the bridge? I'm a nice guy. I'm not a mean guy. So you guys shouldn't run away from me or be afraid of me. So, we can come and get your blessings. And already I bless you anyway, even in your absence. But thank you for sending your greetings to me from Nina. All right, here we go. So, Pastor Joshua.
Yes, sir.
What was your first impression after listening to that message?
Well, my first impression is becoming a little bit usual now because all of the stuff you teach, they are so revolutionary and they are so groundbreaking, so enlightening, eye-opening, very educative. And I was really, happy to hear these things because once again, you've given us a very important secret in our pursuit of success and in our pursuit of fulfilling our destiny and in our pursuit of being more like God. Because when I looked at the topic today of the people you allow around you, and then, them determining what you become, I could see that all through the Bible, it was the same thing with people who became successful.
Okay.
So I said,
what are some examples you like to refer to?
Okay, one of the examples is, let me start with Jesus. He surrounded himself with the disciples most of the time, and those were people who had like minds like he did. And I found that at a point, he even went up to the mountain to fellowship with people from heaven. And the Bible says something happened to him when he came down from that mountain. He looked different because he was coming from a company of a different set of people. And that was what helped him to be, that also aided his ministry and made him a different person. And it also shows me why Jesus Christ, or why God was telling the children of Israel that they needed to be separate from those who were not, serving the same God as them. Because he said, the more you stay with these people, they're going to corrupt what I have told you, and they're going to stop you from being the best that I want you to be. Evil communication corrupts good manner. And I just found that all through, when God wants to use somebody to do something unique, he separates them just so that the environment around their lives can change, the things they hear can change, their minds can change, because the information they will be getting will change, and that will make them into the people who God wants them to be. He never just leaves people where he met them. He always wants to separate them, like he has done with you as well. And I can see that, the results you're having today is as a result of you being separated from the rest of the world for several years, being tutored by God. And right now, that's the same thing that's happening to me.
Yes.
I'm separated from the rest of the world. I'm close to you. And just by being in the same environment as you, I can see the impact that it's having on my life. And I can say, if I wasn't here, I wouldn't have the same results as I'm having now. So it's something that we cannot overemphasize. It's something that we cannot boycott. It's something that we cannot change. It is a basic principle in life that if you're going to be successful, you have to surround yourself with people who will positively influence your life and positively make you to think different, to think greater, to inspire, and make you to be encouraged and to be strengthened. Because like you rightly pointed out this morning, the world does not have a lot of good news to give you. So if you're relying on the world, if you're relying on your TV, if you're relying on just your Facebook feed, you might not have much good news, or your Twitter feed, because it's bad news all the time. There's war somewhere, there's terrorists somewhere, there's some kind of depression somewhere, there's a drought somewhere, there's kidnapped somewhere. So it's all bad news out there. Most of the time, 90% of the news is bad. It's only like the 10% that you can say probably is kind of good. But those things are not, if you rely on them, you would end up depressed. You end up discouraged. You end up hopeless. But I found that when according to what we're taught today, when you surround yourself with the right people, you would always have positive results. You always be a positive person. You'll be a fruitful person. You'll be a happy person. You'll be somebody who will be full of life, who will be full of energy. You spoke about inspiration. Many of us say, oh, I'm not inspired to do this. I don't feel like doing this. I don't feel like doing that. We cannot depend on feelings. We cannot depend on goosebumps. We cannot depend on euphoria, happiness coming from the outside. We have to be able to feed our minds with enough information that will make us to be self-inspired, that will make us to be able to do things even when we don't feel like it, because we have enough knowledge in us to be able to go the extra mile. I've noticed that in my generation, what many people suffer from is the fact that they don't feel like doing the things they know they should do. Many people know they should read, but I don't feel like reading. They know they should pray, I don't feel like praying. I used to be like that before, but walking around you, I began to see that I didn't have time for those things, because like when you were writing articles, it doesn't matter if I'm in the mood to type or if I'm in the mood to do research, we had to do what had to be done. So I started learning that I cannot depend on my feelings. I just have to do what is necessary. And all of that came from being in the right environment. So that's part of what I got this morning. And it just opened up my mind and made me to really appreciate more my environment and understand that even in the future, wherever I go, I have to work towards creating an environment that will give me the ability to thrive, that will give me the ability to create and be positive and be encouraged and be strengthened. Wherever I find myself, I must make sure that I push away negativity from myself as much as possible. I cannot waste time with people who are just jesters, who are going nowhere in life, or else that's what I'm going to become. Because it's the people you are around you that will influence who you're going to become. If you spend more time with God, you become like God. If you spend more time with, okay, I don't want to go far yet into, the things that we need to do, but basically the summary or what I really got this morning was surround yourself with the right people, surround yourself or be in the right environment, and you will be the best that you can be. If you don't do that, you will struggle and you will have issues.
But the thing that is also important for us to know is that it is not just about you being in the right environment, because some people understand that and they want to be in the right environment, but they should know that the right environment will not always make itself available. You need to create that right environment by yourself. You need to determine the right environment that you need and create it through understanding. And that is the understanding we got today. So when you talk about this topic, another question is, the normal people in church, what do you think? Do you think this message is practical enough to be able to help, Christians that you know or Christians that you have known about and their way of thinking in general?
Yeah, I think this is really going to help them, because now we're going to take we're going to take back our authority, or we're going to take responsibility for what we're supposed to do. We're not just going to say now that, we're going to expect stuff to fall from heaven, or we're just not going to be at the mercy of our environment. We are actually going to take positive steps, intentional steps to creating our own environment that would inspire us to be better. So I noticed that many people in church don't really take time to create an environment for success. Many of them create an environment for, for the spiritual stuff, in the sense that they might play music like some worship songs, they might listen to some messages every now and then, but I don't think they really understand this principle of going ahead to positively and intentionally create an environment for yourself that will make you to be a better person.
Or to be who you wish to
or
become in life.
to be whatever you want to be. So I think this is really going to help us to, pay special attention to it, because many people don't really know what it's about. They just know that, okay, I need to read books, I need to play worship songs so I can be in the spirit, in quote. But just being in the spirit is not enough. You have to intentionally understand the process, and when you understand it, you'll be able to properly make use of it and become what you want to become. So I think it will help people who go to church, to help Christians to become what they need to be, because the world is using this principle, or people of the world, they are really using this principle and they are becoming what they want to become. But we in church seem to be praying all the time and doing all of these spiritual exercises, but we're missing out on some of these principles, and that's why we've not been able to take the world for God like we're supposed to. So I think we should become more practical, in the sense that we should intentionally create an environment, an atmosphere for ourselves that will give us the ability to become whatever it is that we want to become.
Okay, brilliant. I'm sure there are many other things in that message that might have ministered to you. Yeah. And so it will be interesting to hear all other points that you have put together.
All right. First of all, the number one point that I liked, that I also learned when I came here to live around you, was the importance of books. Now, I never really liked to read, but then that's not something that is possible around Pastor Sunday, because when I got here, I just used to read like peripherally. I just read stuff just so that I can keep myself informed. But I did not really go deep into it and understand the science between it. Like when I see people, the science behind it, when I see people say, I love to read, I always envy them, because right from when I was a kid, I never liked to read. And I always thought I was odd, but I didn't understand that I had to just, pay the price to discipline myself to sit down and read.
You thought you didn't just think you were odd. You were even telling me that there was something wrong.
Okay, yeah, I felt, okay, at the point,
you thought it was a spiritual thing.
It now grew into the fact that I thought it was something spiritual. But initially, I felt like it was just me. So later it became.
So you were explaining to me, I don't know what it is, something that it has always been there until you saw the principles. That is not mystery.
Yeah, it wasn't a mystery, because when I came close to Pastor and I began to see how he disciplines himself to do the hard work to study, I also said, okay, that means I have to do it. And because I was in this environment, I also started applying that principle, and I saw that it started working. So I went from somebody who did not read to somebody who reads, and somebody who even began to write. So I now began to understand the process of how things are supposed to be done. So that is what environment did for me. And the fact that books are very good. You cannot do without them. There is no successful person I've ever seen on the world level that is not a reader. It's almost impossible. Initially, when I see people who are successful, one of the things that they always have is the fact that they talk about books, the fact that they read a lot of books and they have also written books. So I was like, what is it that is behind writing of books that is, almost synonymous to great people? And I found that it's all because they've taken time to have so much knowledge in them that they begin to produce books. That's how they write stuff, because the more you read, the more you develop yourself, you develop your personal philosophies, you develop your own ideas, and then you begin to give it out to the world. And then I began to understand that a 50-year experience of somebody's life, you can read it in one book and you will get all of the knowledge that it took somebody 50 years to get. And by the time you have that man in your room, and you have about 5 of those people in your room that you're looking up to, who you love, who you admire, who you want to be like, and you read about them, you learn from them, there is no way you will not become something like them. Because like you said this morning, we are the average of 2 people who are our best friends. So you might not have any friends literally, but you can make friends with authors by reading their books and taking in the knowledge that they have. The knowledge those guys have will create an atmosphere and an environment in your house that will make you to be an effective person, that will make you to be a positive person, that will make you to be somebody who is very fruitful. So I loved the fact that you spoke about books as the number one thing that you can use to create a positive environment around yourself, to bring about a positive influence. Once you figure out what you want to do in life, look for the best guys in that field, buy their books, read it as many times as you can, understand what makes them the way they are, And before you know it, these guys will have a positive influence on your mind and you become fruitful. So that's the first thing I learned. Secondly, I found that you can listen to some things online that will change your life. You can make friends with Bill Gates, like Pastor said. If you want to be a telecom expert, you can make friends with Bill Gates. You can make friends with Slim Halo. Anybody you like, you can become friends with them because all of these guys are on the internet. But many people don't explore these options. You find a lot of people going for TED Talks. Many people don't listen to these TED Talks, you know. But these guys are people who have thrived in their field and they come around to share secrets. Many people ignore them. They prefer to watch music videos. They prefer to watch, movies. They prefer to just
that
watch,
is exactly what I
some.
caught you doing when you are here with me all the time initially.
Oh yeah, I used to watch a lot of movies back in the day because I used to think that was one of the ways that I should learn because most of the movies I was watching then were quite educative, but they were not the best way to learn. And Pastor was telling me, he said, movies are not going to help you because they come with a lot of junk. There might be something good in it, but it comes with many stuff that you don't need. But when you get a book, you're sure of exactly what you're going to get. You're sure of the lessons, and then it even increases your focus. Watching a movie is more of entertainment, but reading a book goes beyond entertainment. In fact, when you're reading a book for knowledge, it goes beyond entertainment because now you have to focus, you have to write lessons, you have to be able to look at your life and mirror it with the person you're reading about and see how to make improvement. So it's a whole process. When you're watching a movie, you're just having fun and laughing and just chilling. And that's not an environment that will really help you to grow as a person. So I found that reading books are very important, and I have to be able to be diligent enough to read as many books as possible if I'm really going to create an atmosphere around myself that will help me to grow. So that was the first thing that I
Another
got.
thing you are doing apart from watching movies is that you are listening to music,
Yeah.
music with video. What does that do to you? What does that give you?
No, at the time I was just thinking that probably it was going to help me somehow because, like you said, some of those things inspire me. And you said we look for inspiration in the wrong place. So at that time, I listened to some musical, tunes, and then I watched some music videos from people that I like, and I felt like I was doing something that was helping me. But then that's a lazy man's approach. That's a very shallow and wishy-washy way of looking for inspiration. There's basically nothing there because it's all superficial.
You can get a little bit of inspiration, but that is not the main thing. You can just keep on listening to music, but then it will not lead you to create creativity. It will not lead you to be a better person. It will not change your personality. It will not give you new value system that you need. It will not give you principles of life. You just be getting emotions. That is a level of inspiration, but on the level of emotions. You have to go beyond emotions, isn't it?
Yeah, so you have to go from emotions to real knowledge.
Yeah, but these days I've not been seeing you too much hang on those things anymore.
No, because I'm in an environment that teaches me to know better and has made me to understand better that I don't need to hang on to those things.
But the first time I began to say it first, you didn't immediately obey.
I didn't get it immediately.
Okay.
No, when you said it at first, I didn't get it immediately because I was like, okay, what else am I supposed to do? Like, for me, I didn't have the whole picture, But later, as I continued working with you, I now began to understand the principles more, and I began to understand how important the environment is. And that's because I was in one environment, so I began to see the importance. And then I now got to the HMT, and I saw that you were teaching about environment and the fact that over 50% of how successful you are depends on your environment. It does not depend on your talent. It does not depend on how you look. It depends on the kind of environment you create for yourself, not that it's created for you. Sometimes you can be blessed and lucky to have one created for you, but at the end of the day, you're still going to have to create yours if you want to continue to thrive and grow and develop. So I found that books help. When you listen to audio messages and or you watch videos of people you want to be like, that's better. But you don't waste time listening to music videos and watching stuff that would not help you. So things like the TED Talk, things like, sessions, lessons that you want to get. Yeah, documentaries. These things would enlarge your mind and increase your capacity, increase your knowledge bank. So those are the things you want to focus on, not the other stuff that is just for entertainment. And I also found that you need to go after some mentors. You need to have some people who you really love around you if you want to grow. Many people don't believe in mentors, and I noticed that in my generation, many young people feel they can do it alone. They feel like they're so talented and they're like, oh, I don't need anybody. I can go this road on my own. But it's never the case because like I said, somebody has spent 50 years and what they've taken time to learn, they can teach you in 2-3 years if you're willing to learn. But if you just go on your own, you're going to spend a lot of time making mistakes, you're going to struggle, and you're going to go through a lot of pain and disappointment. But when you take time to listen to your mentors, when you take time to listen to people who are wise around you, you will be able to see that, okay, you're thriving. So I am thriving today not because I'm so smart or because I did some excellent stuff, but I just stayed around my mentor. I just watched and observed him do
in less than 2 years, right?
And yeah, just in like 16 months. In 16 months, I'm able to...
Even you yourself cannot recognize yourself.
Yeah, I'm doing things I never thought I could do. I'm doing things that are amazing my family because they know me. And when I do stuff like they're like, wow, we can't believe you're doing that.
What will your mother say? What does your... Because if other people don't even know you are saying, wow, this person is really big.
My mom is she's just flabbergasted. Like, she cannot believe what she's seeing. Because she's like, I used to struggle to make you to read. I used to struggle to get you to do anything. But now she's just like, she can't believe it. Sometimes she watches the show. Probably she's even on right now. And she watches and she's like, I can't believe that's you. I can't believe how wise you've become. I can't believe how so organized you've become. And I'm like, it's all because of the environment I find myself. So if you surround yourself with positive people, you become a positive person. If you surround yourself with people who are creative, they will help bring out the creativity in you. If you surround yourself with people who are inspiring, you will find that you will not lack inspiration. And today, we're living in a world that is so blessed. Physically, right now, you cannot be with Pastor Sunday, but we're live with you online. You can hear, you can bring him into your house, into your room, wherever you like. You can bring him into. If you go to church to listen to your pastor, that's the most you're going to see. He's far away over there, and then you're in your seat at the back or somewhere. But then with technology, you can take information wherever you're going. You can go with it in the bus, in the train. You can walk around with it.
In the car.
You can jog in your car. Wherever you go, you can decide to keep educating yourself and keep putting stuff in your mind. Where you
can be with Pastor Sunday 24 hours.
24 hours in a day, you can be with him because he's got enough material. If you go on the blog, you see enough stuff. If you go on Pastor Sunday Official on YouTube, you see enough questions that have been answered and a lot of messages that he has preached. So you can be with him 24 hours of the day, getting all of that wisdom, that understanding, that anointing, and you would be an exceptional person. And people around you, even if they are negative, they will see that you're different. Not because of who they are, but because of who you spend time with when you're not with them. So don't allow people around you to put you down and make you feel like, you're nothing. Leave them alone if you see that they are so negative and there's nothing you can do to change them, like your wife, your husband, your neighbors, your kids, your brothers, your sisters, your cousins, whoever, your boss. Just take time out to create your own environment. On your break time during work, what do you listen to? Are you chatting with people who are going to where you're going, or you're spending time just talking and jesting? Jesting is good. It gives you good feelings for that time, but it doesn't give you anything in the next 5 years. In the next 5 or 10 years, what you're going to become depends on the investment you make in your life today. Talking and jesting will give you feelings for 5 minutes and it will be forgotten. But the time you take to educate yourself and build an environment and listen to people who would help improve your life is what will determine what you're going to become in the future. So I learned that today, that I've got to make very good use of technology. I'm not just going to use it for fun and then to just talk to friends and chat for hours without doing anything constructive. But I have to make sure that I'm interacting with people who are where I want to go to, because these guys are the ones who have the keys in their hands to, that I can get to help me open the doors that I need opened. So that was part of what I got today as well.
Yeah, so today is a topic that is applicable to everybody, because everybody needs inspiration, and we all kind of think that there is nothing we can do about the environment we find ourselves in. But really, this morning we were able to let everybody know that no, we are actually the one that decide. We can create the environment we want. We can become who we want to become, depending on how we analyze and do inventory of the people we're around and what are those people bringing to the table. And yeah, so everything is in our hands eventually.
Yeah, it is. Everything is in our hands. What you focus on is what makes you to become the person that you want to be. Many of us are focused on the wrong thing because there's the wrong information out there. There's a lot of information flying around. It is the signal that you choose to pick up on that is going to be magnified in your life. It's just like a radio. You've got a lot of waves on there, but when you tune in to a particular station, that is what determines what you will get. Okay, right now we're on Facebook. You've got probably over 500 friends. But then there is just this one person who is Pastor Sunday who is bringing you what you're getting right now. So out of all the things in your newsfeed, you chose to focus on just one thing, and that is why you're getting this information right now. So what you focus on helps to build who you will become. Many people underestimate the power of focus, but it cannot be, you cannot ignore it because there is too much information out there. And if you don't focus on what will really better you, you will find that you're letting the wrong thing into your life and you'll be losing energy. You will not have inspiration. You will be spending time on the wrong thing. You will be spending your energy on the wrong stuff. And at the end of the day, you'll be like, oh wow, maybe there's something that is conspiring against me. Or you'll be like, maybe I'm not a lucky person. You'll be like, I don't just know why things don't just happen for me. And then when you see successful people, you start saying things like, oh, they are lucky, oh, they're very good at what they do, oh, he's so smart, he's so brilliant. No, it's not because those guys are anything extraordinary. Yes, there are some people who are talented, but at the end of the day, if you go close to them, you will find out that they have surrounded themselves with people and with things that help them to develop into the people that you see them, becoming. Nobody just becomes what they are, admired by the world, overnight. They had to spend time in an incubation phase, taking time to build an environment that helps them to thrive. And I can see that in Pastor Sunday's life, and I can see that anybody who comes around him, if you stay long enough, this is not just only me now. No matter who you are, if you come around Pastor Sunday and you're determined to learn, you will find that you will learn as much as you need. Whatever you want to become, if you want to become a politician, he's going to tell you how. Just by being around him, you will learn the principles. If you want to become a mega church pastor like he is, you also get to do that. If you want to do business, whatever it is, music, whatever. Some guys were here yesterday who are bloggers, and he was telling them the vision he has, and they were shocked that, a pastor has such a huge vision for media because he has taken time to develop himself, and the environment he now creates gives everyone the opportunity to thrive. So no matter what you want to become in life, you can determine to build an environment, to stay with people, to listen to people who will inspire you and who will help you to become what you want to be. Focus on them. Listen to them every day. Because I've noticed that so many people listen to the TV more than they listen to people who they want to become like. You want to become a millionaire, but you spend more time watching TV, watching drama, and how long is it that you spend building yourself up? If you actually have a good schedule for your life, if you have a good system for your life, and you cannot calculate the amount of time you spend watching TV as against that of that you spend building yourself up, you're going to end up in confusion. You need to know that probably I'll watch TV for 30 minutes and then I'll spend 3 hours building myself up and listening to people who are going where I'm going. But if you spend 3 hours watching TV and 30 minutes listening to the people, or in fact 3 minutes or 5 minutes listening to the people who you think you want to become like, there's no way you are going to become what you want to become. Because the things you focus on, the things you give most of your time to, that is exactly what's going to determine your future. So where do you want to be 10 years from now? Some people don't even know. So that's going to make it difficult for you to do the right thing today. Figure out where you want to be 10 years from now. Figure out where you want to be 5 years from now. Many people are in the university today. That's because they know what they want to become. If you want to become an engineer, you've got to go to school and be in an environment, in the classroom, where you're being taught, where you have other people who want to do what you're doing. You interact with them. And then after 5 years, you graduate with a degree. There's an environment in your university that has made it conducive for you to learn and become who you want to become. So if you're not in the university, if you're in the business world, who are the people you interact with? How long do you spend? Many people cannot wait to leave school. They're like, oh my God, school is so boring. I want to get home. And once they get home, they do nothing about school. They go about their business, having fun. They go about partying. There is no way such people can be good students. Pastor Sunday said what made him the best student in the history of his or in the 25-year period of after he graduated was because when he left school, he didn't just go to the hostel to go hang out with friends. He actually spent time studying for another 6 hours. No other person was doing that. He gave himself, or he created an environment that gave him the ability to learn. He buried himself in books, and that was how he accomplished what he did. And I'm seeing that in my life as well. The last time I spent talking to people, I can see that I'm getting more productive because I'm spending time listening to pastors' messages. I'm spending time listening to other guys who are actually successful people, and I keep learning these principles, and they keep being reinforced in my mind, and they're becoming part of me. I've also noticed that many of us don't listen to things long enough for them to stick and become flesh in us. You can, there's something Pastor used to say. He said, if you've heard me once, you've not even heard me at all. He said, if you really want to, if you really want the word to become flesh, you have to listen to my messages 4 to 7 times. And that is when you can really begin to get an understanding of what I'm saying. And I've noticed that it's true. Many of us hear something once and we think we got it. But when you go back and listen to it again, you hear something that you didn't hear before. When you go and listen to it the third time, you'll hear something that you didn't hear before, and your understanding keeps growing. But like I said, we're not focused enough. That is why many of us don't have good results. It's not because the devil is against us. It's not because we're not lucky. It's not because we're not smart. It's not because we don't have the opportunities, but it's just because we have not determined in our hearts to really focus on the right things to make sure that we become who we want to become. So focus is important. Focus on becoming the best you can be by building a positive environment around yourself and listening to people who would positively influence your life. As soon as that happens, you will see that you will have an explosion. And when you talk, when you act, people will be surprised. Don't let your immediate environment determine who you become. You might be living in a slum right now. You might be living in a rented house right now. You might be, you might not have paid your mortgage. You might not have paid your school fees. You might be living in a hostel. You might be living in an apartment wondering what your future is going to be like. You can begin to determine what you will be by the things you listen to. Your life is in your hands. That is one very important thing I've learned from Pastor. Before I thought my life was in the hands of God. My destiny was in the hands of faith. But now I understand that my destiny is in my own hands. God is there to help you. All the tools have been given unto you. You've got the Bible, you've got the Holy Spirit, you've got people like Pastor Son, you've got mentors from all over the world, you've got the internet. So everything you need has been handed to you. All you have to do now is learn the principles, apply them, and begin to walk in them, and you will see that you will become productive. So focus on the right thing, and you will have success in it. I also came to discover that negative people will not disappear from the world. You have to intentionally walk away from such people. And that does not mean hating them. You can love a negative person, but you can also as well seal your heart from allowing them to contaminate it. You cannot run away from your neighbors. You cannot say, I'm not going to greet them. I'm not going to talk to them. That's going to be extreme.
Or from your family.
Yeah, or from your family. That's not what Jesus would do. Jesus didn't stop talking to his family because they didn't believe in him. He just went about his business. You have to keep on loving people, but at the same time, intentionally insulate your heart from such people. Don't spend too much time with negative people, no matter how close they are to you. If you see that your family are people who are putting you down constantly, who don't believe in you, just love them, respect them, embrace them, and just live like a family with them. But understand that I cannot spend the most of my time with these people because their negativity would definitely seep into my life if I allow them to spend too long around me. So stay away from negative people, but don't hate them. They might be in your home. The Bible says that a man's enemies are those of his own household. Joseph's brothers were not buying his dream, and he was not going to, be let down. He just went about his business anyway. Jesus' people were not buying it, but he still went about his business. Daniel was a guy in slavery, but he had a few guys around him who were like-minded, and that helped him to hold on. So don't be against the negative people, or don't go fighting the negative people. Love them, but keep them at arm's length, or else what they are bringing in would end up affecting your life. And at the end of the day, you would have only excuses. And people who give excuses are not people who win in life. To be successful in life, you must make sure that you have no excuses whatsoever. Whatever the situation is that presents itself, find a way around it. If there is no light, go somewhere where there is light. Don't blame your government. Don't blame your country. Don't blame witches. Don't blame wizards. Don't blame the devil. Don't blame your lecturers. If your lecturer is not teaching you well enough, go online and look for a better lecturer. Study the books for yourself. We have no excuse whatsoever not to make it. You can create whatever atmosphere you want. There's something they call a vision board. In the morning when you wake up, what is the first thing that you see? Is it your goal? Is it your dream? Is it your passion? That is an environment. When somebody walks into your room, do they see that this person is a passionate person? Or they see that this person is just somebody living carelessly? Do you have the books that inspire you around you? Do you have the things that inspire you written on the Bible says write a vision, make it plain. The people in the world who are talking about vision boards and all of this stuff that you should paste around to inspire you, they didn't get that thing from themselves. They got it from the Bible. Is your vision clearly written down? There's something that pastor says. He says, make sure you touch your vision every single day. That is part of an environment. If your vision book is right where you can see it all the time, it helps you to create an environment. If somebody who you know is going to drive you to your destiny is on your playlist, you listen to them every single day. What are you doing to create an environment for yourself? Don't be at the mercy of the world. Don't say this happened, that happened, so I couldn't do this, so I couldn't do that. There are no excuses. If you ask Bill Gates, he doesn't have excuses. If you ask Steve Jobs, okay, he's late. If you ask Mark Zuckerberg, he doesn't have excuses. If you ask Amancio Ortega, he doesn't have excuses. He's just doing what has to be done. If you ask Pastor Sunday, in fact, the adversity that he has to overcome to become who he is just extraordinary. But it takes time to develop his environment, and he has, secluded himself. There's something he told me. He said, I've created a prison for myself. And in this prison, I will develop myself, and the world will come and look for me here. Those words were so profound, they never left me. He said, nobody can imprison me. Before you imprison me, I would imprison myself and make sure I become something that nobody can stop. And that's exactly what he's doing right now. He's so creative. He comes up with ideas all the time. And I'm also thinking the same thing in my mind. I'm like, nobody can stop me. Wherever I find myself, I can determine to create an environment that will make me to grow and become a juggernaut that will attract the world to myself. The world likes results. Whoever you're seeing on TV today, they are people who have results, and that's why they're there. And they didn't get on TV by jumping from place to place and having no focus and having no direction and having no good environment. They progressively and intentionally did what they did, and that's why they're where they are. So if you want to be successful, if you want to be anything in the world, you have the resources at your disposal. Go for them, create an environment, have people around you who encourage and strengthen you, spend more time with them, spend more time with your dream, and you have something to rejoice about, and you have a very accomplished life.
But some people who are looking now might be thinking that you are just fortunate because you happen to be living in my house and be in my environment. But that is the natural environment that you spoke about. Because you said that one way is for you to be in the environment that somebody else has created, and the other thing is for you to create your own environment. But you have to let them know that the fact that you are living in my house doesn't mean that we are together every minute. You have to let them know how many times you have listened to how many messages you have to listen to. That in your own room, you have to even in my own house, you still have to create environment. You still have to pay the price. So it's not something that comes cheap or easy that becomes your own and that changes you. It is something that you pay the price for, you intentionally go for to create for yourself that changes you eventually.
All right, so
tell them about your life here in my house.
All right, so when I came here initially, I didn't used to come out of my room. I used to just wait for Pastor to call me, and then we walk and stuff like that. And then later, I began to see that I was not getting the best. And then later, God had mercy on me.
You were not running after knowledge.
I wasn't running after knowledge then because I didn't really understand what was going on, So after a while, and I began to figure out that, okay, if I'm going to accomplish anything, at least I need to be a little bit more eager and more proactive in my approach. I need to just stop waiting for miracles. And then I started coming around more, and I noticed that Pastor kept saying, just keep coming around. You ask him questions, and he would do stuff to make sure that you are around. I don't understand why then, but I started, just coming and then trying to learn, and then I started hearing some of these things. I discovered that because of his schedule, you cannot be around him every day of the week. You can, in fact, sometimes you don't even see him for 1 week, and you're in the same house with him because that's how big the house is. But at the end of the day, you have to go back to your room. So I go back to my room and I try to listen to his messages. In fact, I cannot count how many messages I have listened to from Pastor Sunday. Now, I'm not talking about while I was outside. I'm talking about while I was living right here in his house. Like the message of this morning, for instance, I've listened to it at least 3 times today alone. That is why I can sit here and tell you the things that I'm telling you, and that's why I can relate it to my life and see the results that it's getting for me. So it's not about just being around somebody who has a positive environment. You have to create yours, because nobody can force you to gain knowledge. You have to be willing to accept it, to pursue it, and apply it as best as you can. Be diligent at it, because if you're not, you will stay around somebody who is so successful, but you won't learn anything. I've seen people who have come to this house. I've seen people who have been around Pastor Sunday who are nothing like him. And I've seen people who are surprised at me as well. When they see me, they're like, oh, wow, how long have you been here? And I say, oh, I've been here for a short period of time. They're like, oh, how is it possible that you know all this stuff? And these are people who have been with Pastor longer than myself, and they're surprised at me. So I'm surprised. I'm like, why are you surprised at me? You're here. He's your pastor. He's pastored you for 20 years. What have you been doing? So they're like, oh, they have excuses. But at the end of the day, I just determined that I'm not just going to have excuses. I'm going to make sure I apply myself. So being in this house is no guarantee. You have to be willing to do the work. You have to be willing to listen to messages over and over and over again. Articles that I write I use my hands to write. I have to go back and read them over and over again for me to even gain proper understanding of them. So nothing comes automatically. You have to be willing to apply yourself. You have to be willing to read a book more than one time. I've noticed how Pastor reads books. He reads books so thoroughly that when he reads a book, he has read this book. He will tell you pages of where information is on that book. That's how much he reads books. So when he says he has read something, he really means it. He marks it. He makes sure that he takes notes from the book. And then I began to look at my own books. They still look new. So I was like, I don't think I've read these books. I really need to digest them. And I changed my approach to how I began to read books. And I saw that I started getting more information and more understanding. So it's something that has to be intentional. It's a painstaking, process. It's not something that is easy. Even if you're somebody who likes to read, just reading for entertainment is not going to cut it. You have to really read for understanding. You have to apply yourself. You need to write lessons. And then from his books, I found something interesting. At the end of each chapter, there are questions. So you have to sit down and really think about those questions and try to answer them as best as you can and see how those answers can influence your life. So this change process is quite, it's quite something. It's not something that you just come across overnight. Demanding. It's very demanding. It demands diligence. It demands time. It demands you breaking yourself, because when you see that, probably sitting down for just an hour to read before, but now you discover that if I'm going to become anything in life, I have to read for at least 4 to 6 hours every day, at least. And if 4 to 6 hours is a long road from 1 hour, so you have to be willing to sit down and do whatever it takes to study. If before you just listen to something once and you say, oh, I got it, you have to be willing to go back again to listen to it over and over and write down lessons and take time to apply these lessons to your life, to mirror your life, against what you're reading. So it has been quite a process for me here. That is what I had to do. So sitting with Pastor Sunday is not enough to give you wisdom. Yeah, you gain something, but for it to stick and become your own, so that you can reproduce it, it takes time. It takes effort. It takes conscious practice.
But remember that even though you are here in this my house, and you did, before you read my book, Money Won't Make You Rich, you are already here. You didn't even know I have a book like that.
Oh yes,
and you didn't even know I had anything to do with business or anything until you read it. And you are saying, Pastor, you have this book here. So you needed to take time, even though you are around me, because there are so many things I know that I could come out of me every day. That's one, for example, we're not talking about it. That's why even though I'm the author and I'm here near you, you will not get it. Yeah, so what happened to you in that process? Even when you read the book, I say you can get 200 or so, or how many say 360 lessons. And you say, how come you did it? Maybe you got 90 or so 100. I said, no, go back. Then, what are those are processes that change.
Yeah, so when with Pastor is he doesn't waste knowledge. Things that people just gloss over, he pays attention to details. And that was one of the things that I had to learn. So with him, he has written over 300 books on 300 different topics. So when you sit with him, if you have no questions or if you have no understanding of what you want to do, you can sit with him as an encyclopedia or whatever, just like you sit with the internet that has limitless wisdom, but you wouldn't know what to do. You would just be there having a good time. And he is very good at making have a good time if that's what you want. He says, I wouldn't force people to learn. I cannot force anybody to change. It's what you come with, it's the hunger you come with that would determine how much I give to you. So when I began to understand these things, we were talking about business one day, I think. And then he talked about his book, Money Will Make You Rich. Now, I was living here, but I never really knew the book. Probably I'd seen the picture somewhere, but I didn't pay attention to it. And it was like, you have to read this book. So I said, okay, I'm going to read it. So I started reading the book, and I was amazed at how much wisdom there is in that book. And then when I was done, he told me, he said, you've not gone halfway yet. He said, I want to get 360 lessons or 65 lessons, one for each day of the year from this book. I went the first time, I got about 100. And then he told me, he said, that's too small. You have to take time to be diligent at it. You have to make sure that every line, you understand it and digest it. And that's the only time you're going to be able to get the best lessons out of it. Well, after a period of struggling and not painstaking, sitting for hours and trying to read it line for line, I was able to come up with over 365 lessons. In fact, when I was done, I could see that I could even keep going because finally the process had taken and I now understood how I should go about reading and extracting lessons from the book. But it didn't come in one day. At first, I wasn't even reading it. And that's just one book. There are people in the church today who just take one of his books and they become stars. They listen to they take a book, they read it, master the subject, they go on TV, they get invited to TV shows, they become trainers just based on one of his books alone. So I figured out that, look, I have to just, find what I need to do. I need to figure out what I want to do in my life and just begin to pull that out of him because that's the only time I'm going to get stuff. So it's not an automatic process. It's an intentional one. It's not an easy process. It's a painstaking and one that that requires discipline. It will take you to go the extra mile. You have to push yourself and task yourself if you're going to be able to get things that's from him. And the same goes for you. It's not easy to sit online and listen to this for an hour. Many people are watching movies. Many people are watching games. Many people are strolling on the street. Many people are just laughing and jesting. Many people are on YouTube right now just watching videos, musical videos that are doing nothing to their lives. So people are just sitting and jesting with their friends. Others are just sleeping, doing nothing productive. They say, oh, I've gone to church today, I'm fine. But you need to be able to put in the extra hours if you're going to become somebody who is extraordinary. And that's what I've learned from Pastor. He sleeps for only 4 hours in a day. And he will tell me, he will say, the time I spend in my self-development, I cannot give it up for anything. He wouldn't see anybody. He wouldn't talk or do anything until he's done with his own study. And if he cannot do it before he sees us when he's done, and maybe we're living here at about 3 a.m. when we're done working, and we say, oh, Pastor, good night. He said, well, for you, maybe it's good night, but for me, I'm still going to be awake for the next 2-3 hours, educating and renewing myself. So what you're saying is not automatic from both ends, but from his end and from my own end, because in fact, I'm still working hard every day to make sure that I can discipline myself to even do more. Because I'm not doing as much as he did. I'm not doing as much as 6 hours study. What I do is 18 hours work. But at the end of the day, I still want to be able to sit down and put work aside and just invest in myself, invest in my mind, listen to these things. Even while I'm working, I'm listening to some of them. But I have to be willing to take notes. And that's something that is easy because you have to work and then you have to learn at the same time. So it's a process that is very complicated, but it's worth it because when you understand where you want to be in 10 years, you'll be willing to pay the price today. And that's what will help you to become the best that you need to be for God. So the process, guys, is not automatic. It has to be intentional. An environment will not create itself. Nature tends to chaos on its own. Nobody is a vacuum. If you don't invest in yourself, the world will fill you with the wrong kind of information and you end up depressed, you end up discouraged, you end up hopeless. But when you spend time to invest in yourself and listen to things, to messages of hope, to listen to things that would increase you like we're doing right now with Pastor every day, there is no way your life will remain the same. I'm sure all of you who have been on this show for the past few weeks, you can testify to how different your life is because even my own life is different. and I'm living right here because of the things I'm hearing. Because now he's talking about some topics that he didn't talk about before. And now the way he applies it and the way he speaks about it brings about a new level of understanding that even I in this house, I'm getting, even after being with him for about 16 months. So guys, it's not an automatic process. You have to apply yourself to be able to get what you want. So that's what it takes. The environment thing is something you cannot change. You cannot remove it. You have to be willing to build an environment for yourself. No matter how negative the world is, your country is. Some people might be complaining about the country, like in my own country, Nigeria, right now. So many people are given to complaining. They're given to crying. I understand that the situation is not exactly what it's supposed to be. It's not conducive. But ask yourself, what is complaining going to get me? Nothing. What is crying going to get me? Nothing. Those are just emotions. But when I can sit down and come up with creative ideas of how to better myself and my nation, then I become proactive. You discover that you wouldn't even have time for these noisemakers anymore. You wouldn't have time to complain anymore because you will be so engaged in your mind with being productive and with being a go-getter that you will not even remember the government. Anything the government is doing, you will be like, oh wow, so this is what they're doing, and you come up with another idea of how to get out of that situation because nothing can stop you. You're the only one who is stopping yourself right now, not your government. Because I've seen people who, Pastor is an example. He grew up in a village of 40 huts. He had no shoes till he was 12. As if that was not bad enough, he came to former Soviet Union when there was no freedom, there was no English, they didn't like black people. The odds have always been against him, but here we are today. We're all products of what he has done. And at the same time, I've seen people who have been through, some bad situations. They've come from countries where nobody thought they were going to make it. His very good friend, who is late, Dr. Miles Monroe, was in the Bahamas. He was poor. His whole family, they had a lot of people. He had to sleep on the floor. But he determined that he was going to be different. And that was why him and Pastor connected in such a special way, because they came from very poor backgrounds, but they built themselves up. And that's what I am also trying to do right now, to make sure that I create an environment that will help me grow from the information that I have. So you can do yours as well. Wherever you find yourself, wherever you are right now, you can become whatever you want to be by creating the right environment, by bringing in the right people into your house. Many of you let the wrong people into your house every single day. These people coming through the TV, they coming through the radio, they coming through the internet, they coming through, magazines and publications. Cut those guys out. Don't let them into your space anymore, because they're taking from you instead of giving. Allow just positive things into your space, and you'll be somebody who will become a sign and a wonder in this world. We Christians are not exactly at the fore of the world right now. We're not on top of the world where God wants us to be. And that's because we're not creating for ourselves the right kind of environment. We're busy doing other stuff. We're being turned to and fro. We're being tossed to and fro with lots of things happening, and we lack focus. And as long as we can focus and make use of the things that God has given to us, there is no way we will not be on top of the world in the next few years.
Brilliant. Wow, I couldn't stop you because, it's so hot. And even though our time is fast running out, I couldn't just afford to stop you. Let me read what people are writing. Julia said, my friend and I will start to work really hard towards our success from today. So thank you. Ifioma Shinedu say, where can I get the book, please? I live in UK. No, you have all my books on Amazon. If you have Amazon UK, you have Amazon. Just go to Amazon and write Sunday Adelaja books. You'll be able to get my books, including Money Won't Make You Rich. Martin King Edeme says, oh, wow, we have to extract lessons from books? Yes, you have to. Shegun says, be willing to do the work. Be prepared to pay the price. Yes. Patsy says, it's all about you having a positive mindset. It doesn't necessarily mean surrounding yourself in a positive environment, but being positive in your inner mind. Sheung said, be proactive in seeking knowledge. Ifioma says, wow, beautiful message. May God continue to fill you with his wisdom and understanding. Julia says, amen. I'm learning a lot from you guys. I'm blessed. Sheung says, don't be at the mercy of the world. No excuses to develop yourself. Build an environment that will help you to grow. Yetunde says, seal your heart away from negative people. Don't hate them, but just switch off and focus on the positive. It's all about being successful. Please be sharing this. If you don't mind, go ahead and share this link. Before we finish, let's go ahead and go to the share link. Go to your timeline and share the link, please. Shemu again says, intentionally isolate yourself from negative people, but don't hate them. The same thing. Okay. If you say words of wisdom, yeah, they're writing a lot of things. Julia says, Pastor Sunday always has great messages and great points. Thank you a lot. Thanks a lot, Pastor. Thank you. Tiwari Rita is greeting me for my birthday. Paulino says, please, sir, I have tried to reach you. Sir, please, we need you in grace. Please, sir, have mercy. Come to grace. I was in grace. Okay, look, there are so many places that I need to go to. And many people are inviting me to go everywhere, but I'm not going to go anywhere. Like I told my son here, my disciple here, my mentee here, Joshua, that I've built a prison for myself, but where I make myself relevant and make myself necessary. So let the whole world be coming to get me where I am. And I'm going to train everybody here and send them back to their countries so that they will be as good as Joshua and then to be able to take on their countries or any situation. And soon I'm going to go back to Africa and I'm going to be doing this to build people up, a new form of Christians, a new, a new generation of believers that will be able to take on any country. And so if we were able to teach you and train you from Greece, you'll be just like Pastor Sunday. And I will not need to be going everywhere. You will just be trained and you'll be ready to take on your country or on that country where God has sent you. Oluseyi said, thank you, Pastor Sunday Adelaja, for taking the church to people and your commitment to your calling. Thank you. God increase you in grace and peace and preserve you, your family, and church. Thank you so much. Lauren says, I feel like leaving my husband and children to change my environment. No, we already told you what to do with that, both now and in the morning. You can know what to do about it. You don't need to leave them. You just need to create your own atmosphere. Tang said, hi, Pastor, I feel like getting out from this town to change a new environment. Need your advice. Yes, you can get out of the town, but if you can, no matter where you are, you can be in any town, but you can still create your own microclimate. You can create your own environment without living that town. But if you feel that God is leading you to lead the town, please, you must know the reason why, and you must know what you will do in the other place you are going to. Pastor Irene from Manchester said, Joshua, you blessed to have a father that loves you this much and desires the best for you. We need more of such fathers in the church. Oh, that's so true. That's so true. Who selflessly invest in their sons. Yeah, not too many people invest in other people. Kenneth Amobi said, that is wisdom. You are absolutely right, Pastor. You have soldiers out there, the younger generation that can make a good impact to the world. Keep it up, sir. I'm getting something here. Well, our time is up, but let me read what Bamishaye Victor said. You know, Victor that was here yesterday. Okay. Bamishaye says, Pastor Joshua is sure a replication of Pastor Sunday. We are proud of you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Well. Well, so many things to learn. Esther Kuganja said, wonderful message, challenge me to be proactive and creative. How can one change his or our mindset? That's what Esther Bobga said. We've talked about that this night and last morning, in the morning. Please go for it. Go and listen to the messages again. Kunle Ayodele is a great message, word of wisdom. Well, thank you so much. I'll be back again in the morning. And, but bye from us, from me, and...
From me too, goodbye. Create an environment for yourself. Read books. Get Pastor Sunday into your house as much as you can. And I believe you'll be greatly successful. God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you, Pastor Joshua. And thank you, everyone. Go and share this message. This message should be a blessing to you and to many other people. Go and share it, and see you tomorrow morning, 9:30 our time, 7:30 British time, 7:30 Nigerian time, AM, 8:30 AM in Central Europe, and 2:30 AM in the US Eastern time. God bless you all. See you tomorrow. Bye.